Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to you all on this occasion. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Keshav Karve, and I head the revenue function of India International Business at the Zee Entertainment Enterprises Limited, the only truly global media conglomerate with about 40 international channels, having presence in 173 countries and with almost 1.3 billion plus viewership. Today we are going to present the India Investment Summit, Maharashtra Special, as part of our India Investment series. And the minister would be joining us in a short while, probably in another 5 minutes. Meanwhile, I'll just introduce the moderator and the panel members, the esteemed panel members to the audience. The event will be moderated by Dr. Sachidanand Shukla. He is the Chief Economist of the Mahindra & Mahindra Group. Also on the panel would be Mr. Jayant Deshpande, President, Samsotech Group of Companies, winner of several global and regional awards for business innovations, innovative products and business practices. We also have on the panel Dr. Sunil Manjrekar, Managing Director and CEO of Sandbook Quality Consultancy UAE. He is also the President of GMBF, which is Gulf Maharashtra Business Forum UAE. We also have Mr. Dilip Sinha, Secretary General of IBPC, which is Indian Business and Professionals. And he's also the Vice President Middle East of MVent, a American company with over 2 billion of assets. And we also have Mr. Skandan Mahalingam, Convener, Investment Forum, IBPC, and Managing Director of the Enuvalence Capital and Ideal MC. Now, without further ado, we will turn over the time over to Dr. Sachidanand Shukla to take over.
Thank you, Keshav, for that generous introduction. Thank you so much once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this webinar, India Investment Summit. This is, as you know, as Mr. Keshav pointed out, this is a Maharashtra special, and we will have the Minister of Industries of Government of Maharashtra soon with us. In the meanwhile, I just wanted to give or share a backdrop in terms of how difficult crisis is, and this is truly a global crisis. As you all know, you keep reading about it, you keep listening to some of these very scary anecdotes from people across the world. I just wanted to share a very brief, say, backdrop in terms of how bad this is in terms of macroeconomic shock, as well as a political and health crisis, as you know. If you go to February of this year, IMF came up with its World Economic Review, right? Outlook. They come up with an outlook every 6 months. What they said was that about 160 odd countries are going to be witnessing.
Joined in, huh? The minister has joined. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Namaskar. Welcome, Honorable Minister.
Good evening, sir. Namaskar, sir. Keshav Karve from Zee International. A warm welcome to you. Can you hear us, sir? Sir, you are on mute. Yeah. Sir, you'll have to unmute yourself. Sir, unmute. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Namaskar, sir. Yeah.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Sir, I'll just introduce you to the panel members
Yes.
so that then we can take over. We have Dr. Sachidanand Shukla, who will be moderating this webinar. He's the
Yes.
Chief Economist of Mahindra and Mahindra Group.
Yes.
Also on the panel, we have Mr. Jain Deshpande. He's the President Samsotech Group of Companies with presence all over the world. They are also the winners of several global and regional awards for business innovations, innovative products, and business practices. We also have Dr. Sunil Manjrekar, Managing Director and CEO of Sandbook Quality Consultancy, UAE. He is also the president of GMBF, which is Gulf Maharashtra Business Forum in
Yes.
UAE.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we have Mr. Dilip Sinha. He's the Secretary General of IBPC, which is Indian Business Professional Council, UAE. And he's also Vice President Middle East of MVent, which is an American company with over 2 billion of assets. And Mr. Skandan Mahalingam, he's the convener Investment Forum, IBPC, and the Managing Director of Evolvence Capital and Ideal MC. I'll just hand over now to Dr. Sachidanand Shukla to briefly introduce you to the audience and then take it over from there.
A very warm welcome to everyone on this special edition, which is, like Mr. Keshav Karve said, this is the India Investment Summit, Maharashtra special. And you can see that on the backdrop, maximum opportunity, maximum Maharashtra. We are really privileged to have today with us the Honorable Minister of Industry for Government of Maharashtra, Mr. Subhash Desai. He actually doesn't really need any formal introduction. He's been a part of the Assembly of Maharashtra, and he represents the constituency of Goregaon. He has been donning this role for the government of Maharashtra, and he's a renowned name within these circles, not just Maharashtra, but also India as a whole when it comes to industry. Um, Honorable Minister, what I intend to do is I will begin with a few words on the economy of Maharashtra, just the backdrop, and I'll pose a few questions. And in the second half of this interaction, our panelists from this panel, which is comprised of people representing the Indian Business and Professional Council, and they will pose some questions to you. And followed by that, we will open the floor, time permitting, to some questions from the people on this call today. So just a word on the economy of Maharashtra. I think it is the most industrialized state in India, as everybody knows, and it has maintained its leading position in the industrial sector in the country for quite some time, right? And there have been competitors, and we know that India is a federal economy. There are states that compete with each other in terms of economic growth, with various policies. But I think we can say that Maharashtra has been a pioneer in small scale industries, and also it boasts of the largest number of SEZs in the country. If I look at Maharashtra's gross state domestic product, which is a proxy for GDP at the state level, it has grown at a CAGR of about 12% between 2015-16 to 2019-20 to reach about $303 billion. And according to the DPIIT, the cumulative FDI inflows in the state stood at about $138 billion between April 2000 to March 20. And I think the state is also one of the leading exporters from within India, and I think about $75 billion worth of exports in the previous financial year. So, Minister, these are not normal times, and I don't think economic policy probably such a large difference one way or the other. But I think in times of crisis like this, it makes all the difference in the world. We know that you have a very difficult task at hand. You have to change economic policy, create confidence, foster investments while being mindful of the deficit and the public debt, etc. And I think we also know that making economic policy is not a popularity contest, especially during times of such panic. And I think we are in a new world right now. We don't really need a 2020 vision to see that 2020 is annus horribilis, right? It's probably the worst year that we all have seen in our lives, and this is something that is unprecedented. I can safely say, probably na bhuto na bhavishyati. We hope we don't see a year like this again. And the entire society, the whole globe, is really paying a heavy price. With that backdrop, Honorable Minister, I just wanted you to speak on what is the economic prospect of Maharashtra as you see it, and what is it that you want to convey to investors with that kind of a dire backdrop? Over to you, Mr. Minister.
Thank you, Sachidanandaji. Thank you, everyone. My warm welcome to all the participants, dignitaries, Mr. Jayan Deshpande, Mr. Sunil Manjrekar, Mr. Dilip Sinha, Mr. Mahalingam, and of course, my friend Keshav Karve. With your help, I could participate in this very, very important, significant webinar. And Corona has taught us to change the ways, change the way we live our life. Now, almost every activity is coming on digital platform. And of course, we are now tuned to this new way of communication. So thank you very much for organizing this webinar, inviting our friends from Gulf countries. And I must thank Zee International for taking this initiative. As you know, the pandemic has changed the way of life. And in the near future, we are just trying to understand what would be the shape of economy of the state, the national economy, and of course the world economy. The things are changing rapidly, and one is trying to grasp these changes. We in Maharashtra are also making some reforms. So everyone just can't just sit back and relax. Everyone will have to respond to these changing times and the challenging situations. So what we have done at our end, and then Maharashtra has been very active in making things very, very conducive, comfortable to the industry players and investors. Maharashtra is a preferred destination for all investors across the globe, as well as national industry leaders. Our share in GDP is 15% in the national GDP. Our share in export is more than 26%. The Maharashtra has the largest manufacturing facilities set up throughout the state. And it is popularly known as the auto manufacturing hub, pharma manufacturing hub. So we wish to retain our leading position, and in these challenging times, we have made certain reforms. We have introduced Mahaparvana, that is master license. Now people have certain complaints about the government way of working, that they need to go to various departments in order to obtain permits and licenses. Now we have cut off all these running from pillar to post. One single license is enough to launch production by any investor. So within 48 hours of the serious agreement with the government uh, uh, would be master license or Mahaparvana would be made available. And then within 30 days, all the departments have been mandated to issue their respective licenses. Again, we have also opened up a system of plug and play. Many investors do not want to have a long lease of lands. We have a system of 95 years lease system for plots. But now with the reforms, we have introduced rental way, a rental window for making available the plots. For short-term rentals, the plots are available. MIDC, my Industrial Development Corporation, would invest in the construction of industrial sheds or industrial houses, and they would be made available either on ownership or rentals. Both the options are available. Now, so this is plug and play. Immediately the investor can start their activities. Again, we have also launched a web portal by the name Mahajobs. Now, with the pandemic, many migrant laborers left the state, and there was a fear of dearth of labor force. So to bridge this gap, we have introduced Mahajobs web portal, where the job seekers would register their names and job givers would register their requirements. So both these people are now free to join each other on this common platform. So Mahajobs would make available skilled, semi-skilled workers required by the industries. Again, we have another regime which would be very, very friendly with the investors, that is relationship manager. Each investor would contact this relationship manager who is single point contact. They don't have to depend on various departments. They don't have to contact and communicate. They will contact this one single person who is fully authorized, empowered to deal with all the issues related with their investment and their further implementation. So with these reforms, I think Maharashtra is more industry friendly, and we have as much as 40,000 hectares of land parcels available, fully developed with infrastructure, plots, power, water, and all related infrastructure. So this is the story in the new normal situation. With this situation, I hope that investors are really attracted to Maharashtra, and it is proven last month when our Honorable Chief Minister headed our team of secretaries, where MOUs were signed and companies from countries, they signed MOUs with government of Maharashtra. ExxonMobil from United States, that is oil and gas company. Then Estec is South Korean company. They are ESDM major. RAKBank is a Singaporean data center company, and many others. They signed MOUs with government of Maharashtra, investing as much as 24,000 crores of rupees totally. Again, coming month, we are signing with other companies coming from different countries and of course from India. So this is our part 2 of Magnetic Maharashtra. So Magnetic Maharashtra 2.0 is being unfolded, and we are ready to welcome all the investors. We have made every arrangement for rolling out red carpet to the investors and of course, it will be complete hand-holding. And I assure you that myself and my entire team is available to assist and guide the newcomers. Thank you very much. I think this would certainly ensure the scenario of tomorrow. And again, I am available now for any further questions, Mr. Shukla. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. You listened the context very well for us. You have described the response to Magnetic Maharashtra, some of the MOUs that the government has signed. One of the questions that I had, which was related to ease of doing business, and I think our investor friends would be keen to know about this. So, just wanted to ask you, there has been a recent study by Team Lease, wherein it says that Maharashtra has one of the most onerous compliance burdens amongst all Indian states. For example, Maharashtra has about 67 acts, 3,657 compliances, and about 215 filings to be done. How do you, Mr. Minister, propose to lower this compliance burden for businesses? And what actions will you from the government take to actually improve this ease of doing business in Maharashtra?
Yes, very relevant question. Maharashtra is known for its progressive policies. It is very pragmatic. And in social reform, there is a great tradition for Maharashtra to follow. Given this, many acts have been passed or enacted, giving formal shape to various thoughts and themes. But they should not come as a hurdle in the industrial progress or economic progress. And therefore, we have brought many reforms. I have reduced the number of permissions from 75. Originally, it was 75 totally 4 years back. Now it is only 25. And this 25 also should not be any hindrance, and therefore this relationship manager and Mahaparvana or master license would be a greater help. So the new industries need not worry for wasting time obtaining various licenses. Our relationship manager is one point responsible person who will be totally authorized to manage all these permissions. And of course, this Mahaparvana license approved by our government entitles for the investors now to go ahead with their plan as per their schedule.
I think that's great news for people on this panel, as well as people listening to this. I mean, you've been able to chop the number of regulations, like you said, from the permits 75 to, I mean, you more than halved it, which should be music to the ears of people here. Mr. Minister, let me ask you another dimension. We have recently seen some of the states actually amending their labor laws to help industries hit by COVID. And also they're trying to attract investments by doing so. What would you, from the perspective of Maharashtra government, look at? I mean, what are some of the changes that you are looking at when it comes to labor laws? And the other related question that I had, since I represent Mahindra and Mahindra, you've also stated that you're very keen to develop Maharashtra as a major EV hub. So what is it that government of Maharashtra is going to do to attract such investments in the state? Any major policy changes, etc.?
Yes, in my opening remarks, I have already explained the 4-point programs of reforms. That is Mahajobs in the field of labor, Mahaparvana, that is master license, to towards the ease of doing business. Then relationship manager for hassle-free operations, and plug-and-play system for making available infrastructure facilities. This 4-point program is our key to the speedy implementation and conversion of intention into reality. So I think this is a good and opportune time for choosing Maharashtra for future investments.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. What I will do now is I will request our panelists one by one to ask the questions that they have in their mind. What I'll do is I'll request Mr. Dilip Sinha to ask his questions. Mr. Sinha?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Shukla, and Honorable Minister Subhashji. It's a pleasure to be talking today to you.
Yes.
I'm originally from Mumbai. I've grown up in Mumbai, so Maharashtra is very close to my heart. And I represent Indian Business and Professional Council from Dubai here in this panel. So, first of all, I wanted to compliment you and your government on Mahaparvana and this regarding the jobs that you have created for bringing the employer and employees, especially the labor and other people together. I think that's a very good move, and that actually does away with my first question, which was on asking you what are you doing about single window, and you have answered that by talking about Mahaparvana. And I think that's a great initiative, because most of the people from outside who come in, who are not aware of all the laws, minimum compliances, as Dr. Shukla mentioned, minimum places they have to go and to set up their industry or invest, easier it makes it for them, and more attractive it makes it. So my compliments to you. I just heard about it just now. It will be really good for us to know, other than Mahaparvana, regarding the relationship manager, regarding the industrial plots, which sites to go. So that could be communicated to us, and it could be circulated later. So compliments to you. My second question actually first has already been answered by you earlier. Second, in food processing, given these COVID times and all, food became a very big issue for most of the places. And I see globally and even in our region here, a lot of interest in organic farming, in food processing plants, which are near the rural areas and all, which go a long way to create rural employment and also create the industry and well-being of the rural areas. And in order to do that, my personal experience or understanding is most of the people, or if not all, they like to own their land to grow, besides procuring some of the stuff for their own organic, for their food processing plants. And for organic farming, again, that's a very innovative thing. Worldwide, there is a big increase in demand for organic farms. They would like to own the lands. I know that in Maharashtra, there is a law that only farmers can own lands. Now, if people want to invest in that sector to bring it up in organic farming, food processing and other areas, are there anything that your government is doing, whether it is your department or the agriculture department, sir? So this would be my second question.
Very good question.
Thank you.
And I would like to clarify. I don't know how far I will be able to satisfy you, but I will just try. We have a 2-point program on this front. Food processing industries. We have a specific plan to develop a food park near Aurangabad. Now, Aurangabad is an industrially known city, as well as on the tourism map, international tourism map. Aurangabad is having a prominent place. So, with the connectivity, air connectivity, rail, highways, etc., Aurangabad is treated as preferred destination. There, in DMIC node, that's a Delhi Mumbai Industrial Corridor, part of that, we are developing industrial area dedicated for food and fruit processing hub and infrastructure with specific amenities are being developed there. And I recollect 2 years before, in the regime of previous government, there was interaction between the UAE government and government of Maharashtra, setting up of the food security program with some corporations, multinational corporations, ready to invest in district Nashik of Maharashtra and district Aurangabad for processing meat, vegetable, fruits, and food grains.
Right.
So complete infrastructure is being developed there. Again, we have a very, very ambitious program for connecting with the farming community. Recently, Government of India has made certain reforms in the earlier policies, and now contract farming is easier. There could be arrangement of contract farming between the industrial investors and the farming community.
Right.
And it will be a win-win situation for both the sides. And this new arrangement would be very, very helpful in developing food and, of course, the value addition for the farming community.
Right. Excellent, sir. Thank you for that. I think that will be a great progress, and thank you for the answer. My final question to you, very short one. There is a huge interest in investing community, especially in the Middle East. One is in hospitality, and second is the education sector. When they go to that, is it a different ministry that they have to contact, or the Mahaparwana that you have brought in that would address those sectors as well?
Of course, we have different ministries as well as for education, but still, my ministry is a nodal agency for making arrangements for dialogue between different industries on single platform. So I will be responsible for negotiating between these departments as well as with the prospective investors. So if any such opportunity, kindly let me know.
Okay, sir. I think that's very good. You have answered it. Thank you very much, sir, and it's pleasure speaking to you.
Yes, sir.
I would pass in to Dr. Shukla. Thank you.
Thank you. May I now request Dr. Manjrekar to ask his questions, please?
Manjrekar साहेब, नमस्कार, जय महाराष्ट्र.
जय महाराष्ट्र साहेब. तुम्हाला मी मिस केलं होतं. We miss you in Mahabiz, but now it's our privilege that we are meeting you now in this forum.
Yes.
So my first question to you, sir, one of the impediment, obstruction to FDI has been the lack of cleanliness and hygiene. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, SBA, is seen as a solution to overcome this impediment. What steps has Maharashtra government taken with respect to SBA in order to attract FDI? This is my first question, sir.
Yes, we have many schemes initiated by the government in this field. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, in one state which is implementing and taking forward this scheme is to be named, that is Maharashtra. And we have a very ambitious program of smart city initiative. So there are 10 cities in the state which have taken up this scheme, smart city, and the cities are getting transformed. And most of the activities are brought on digital platforms. Now, all these cities have been totally equipped with CCTV cameras and online servicing. So we have already adopted these schemes, and I don't know when you visited last Mumbai and other cities of Maharashtra. I welcome you. You please visit and see the change for yourself, and I'm sure you would appreciate our efforts, and we're taking this cause forward on a fast track.
Thank you, sir. My second question is regarding the Chinese FDI. What is the stand of government of Maharashtra? Will it follow the central government requirements?
Of course.
Is such stand also impacted by the current pandemic? So what is the stand of Maharashtra in Chinese FDI now?
See, we have a federal system of governance. So government of India's policies are implemented by every state, and Maharashtra is no different. So the policies regarding the Chinese investments and business expansions are certainly followed by government of Maharashtra, and we don't have any different policy on the international relations. So government of India's policies are being implemented. That is one thing. But there are many other countries which are now attracted to India, looking for new lands for their expansions and for their investments. And I think Maharashtra is the chosen location for their future investments. So Maharashtra, therefore, is called magnetic Maharashtra. Why we are magnetic? It is a powerful magnet that attracts. More than 33% of the total FDI that comes into India flows into Maharashtra alone, more than 33%. So I think that is the enough testimonial for Maharashtra's strength.
Thank you very much, sir. My last question to you is for foreign direct investment. Does the Maharashtra government offer the investor protection, assurance, guarantee against political risk, non-commercial risk, environmental risk, similar to those which is covered under MIGA, Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency?
Yes, we are aware of this, and I can certainly point out a growth in the number of companies coming from particular countries. Now, German companies coming from Germany, if you see the number year on year, it is growing. Now there are more than 1,000 German companies present in India. More than 300 are in Maharashtra. 10 years before, they were less than 100. So that shows that the German companies are comfortable, happy with our system of working, and they are bringing their friends into the state. This applies to many other countries. Companies from Singapore, they are always find and give Maharashtra highest ranking. One Singaporean study shows that Maharashtra was rated number 1 state in the country from their point of view. So I think we know the importance of bilateral relations and safety of investors' sentiments. So Maharashtra is perfectly aware of our responsibilities and the entire scenario.
Thank you very much, sir, for all the questions and answers. What you are given, we are very happy to interact with you. Whatever the support you required from our end as an NRI, we are there to support Maharashtra always. And thank you very much. And over to Dr. Shukla. Thank you very much. Jai Maharashtra.
Jai Maharashtra.
Thank you, Dr. Manjrekar. Could I now request Mr. Jayan Deshpande to ask his questions to the Minister, please?
देशपांडे साहेब, नमस्कार. जय महाराष्ट्र.
Mr. Jayant, you'll have to unmute yourself, please.
Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Jai Maharashtra.
Jai Maharashtra.
I have two questions, sir. One is that there are a lot of NRIs who want to who want to support social enterprise, which will help. Basically, it's like a one-time investment in a business where creates jobs and then the business run off its own. We don't want to make any profits. We want to take anything back, but it should be sustainable and create a jobs for long term. That is one. How can government help us to find out these social enterprises, basically to do a social service where we can create jobs and run off its own. No need to, we are not looking for any long-term money or anything like that. That is one. The second question I have is something, how can, I see Maharashtra has been doing a very good business and this, but what I feel is that there is a need for us people to think globally, create global enterprises where we can, instead of looking at just as a Maharashtra or India as a business, we should see how we can export or how we can create global brands originating from Maharashtra, which requires a global thinking or a thing. How can Maharashtra government can help us to create a think tank which can think like this?
Very good question. I thank you for that, and Mr. Deshpande. We have a complete economic ecosystem developed over a period of time. Here, I can cite examples of our Maharashtra or Indian MNCs like Tata's, Mahindra Group, and so on. They have presence in countries and their industrial setups in outside India. So this is two-way activity. Maharashtra believes, and of course, my country, India, believes in total democratic freedom. So it is not one way, it is two-way. People can invest, their investment is safe here. So this is a story of good long 70 years that people are coming to India, they are investing, and at the point of their decision, they can also withdraw and take back their investments. So at no point of time, this was agreed by any investors. So it is a complete democratic setup and total freedom to everyone. When we roll out red carpet for the investors, it is also ensured that it is a complete seamless system of working. So no need to worry for the investors coming in this country or coming to state of Maharashtra. So I think this is perfect bilateral partnership, and we believe in this strong partnership and look forward to growing relationships.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Shukla.
Thank you. We can have a question now from Mr. Skandan Mahalingam. Mr. Mahalingam, please.
Your Excellency, Minister Shri Subhash Desai, it's our privilege and honor to be discussing with you a subject of this importance, and your responses to all the previous questions have been nothing short of very satisfying to any investor's ears. But I have just one question that's been with me for a while now. Infrastructure investments by overseas investors in any given country tend to be very long-term in nature, say 30 years or upwards even. But during these 30 years or so, if there are any changes in the government or deep political changes, policy could get changed too in the process. And the investor who invested at the current time based on a given set of policies may find these policies changed midway. How would you protect investors from such mid-course change in policies that may be detrimental to their interests?
Okay, I would try to respond. A very pertinent question. And here in Maharashtra, I can cite examples of our ongoing infrastructure projects. Our Trans Harbour Link project is supported by JICA, that is Japanese Investment Organization, and it is going ahead smoothly. It was envisaged long back. The previous government launched it, and the present government is trying to implement it as fast as possible. So change in government does not impact the prospects of any infrastructure projects. That is the responsibility, because government is an ongoing process. It is a continuous process. Ministers come, ministers go. Chief minister can change, but the policies are unchanged. Again, our metro network, these projects have been supported by companies from countries like Singapore, Korea, European countries. The various metro rail projects, we find partners from different countries. So these projects do not get completed in a year or two. They last longer. And even after the change in the government, there is no hindrance, no problem, or no holds up. So I can assure in our coastal road project, there are many partners. Hyundai is a multinational corporation busy in infrastructure projects. They are partners in our one of the packages. So these projects and for this infrastructure sector, investors do not need to worry what happens with the change of government. No way for worry.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I hand over back to Dr. Shukla then.
Thank you, Mr. Mahalingam. Mr. Minister, I from one of the people attending this call, essentially asking us if there are any benefits that are on offer from the government for people who are investing in the state of Maharashtra, which is very different from some of these other states in terms of taxation. Would you like to answer that question, please?
Please elaborate.
What he wants to know is there any sort of benefit that the government of Maharashtra offers to people who are making investments, I mean, direct foreign investments into the state of Maharashtra in terms of taxation or any other benefits, any additional benefits over and above what some of the other states offer?
We have a whole package of incentives, and all the investments in terms of land cost, investment in the infrastructure, that is construction, or investment in fixed capital goods like machinery and equipment. Every rupee is refunded through the tax subvention. So GST, whatever GST is paid to the government, it is refunded 100% to the tune of 100% investment. So investors are attracted to Maharashtra with this scheme of incentives, and it also varies from case to case. We have a special cabinet subcommittee which handles these cases on merits. So any special feature can be treated and can be addressed by the cabinet subcommittee individually. There is a scope for bilateral negotiations for individual cases.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. There is one more question that I see essentially asking you that a lot of businesses have shifted over time from Maharashtra to Gujarat due to whatever incentives or infrastructure or labor. What is government of Maharashtra doing about this? I think you have answered it in so far, but is there anything that you would want to add over here to this specific question?
I don't understand what to do with this perception. Because I don't see any industry bidding goodbye to Maharashtra and telling us that, okay, we are now shifting to, no. New investments or expansions have been made in neighboring states. But this is a federal economy. And this competition, this healthy competition is always welcome. We don't deny their scope and chances to develop their states. So there is no conflict. In fact, there are certain advantages, geological advantage, geographical advantages available with the different states. So people are free to choose the land of opportunity. So that is one thing. The preference is given for expansion. Now, Maruti Udyog Limited or Suzuki, originally they have been there in Haryana for last 30 years. But their new investment went to Gujarat. Okay. So the companies are expanding and they should expand always. But there are many groups which have come to Maharashtra. So they have not shut down their original plan. For their expansion, they have chosen the state. So I don't say it is migration. It is only expansion and extension of their business activities. So Maharashtra is growing year on year. I can cite figures of our industrial growth and investment growth. Our growth in the revenue itself shows when GST increased from 70,000 crores last year to 90,000 crores this year, it itself shows the businesses are growing in the state. So, sir, I would definitely try to understand the perception and try to clarify more.
Thank you so much for that clarification, Minister. Just one more question before we end this. We are really conscious of your time. Since this is more of a healthcare crisis, health crisis, how does the government of Maharashtra plan to improve the healthcare infrastructure in Maharashtra, especially in smaller towns and rural areas, to deal with COVID or something like that in future?
Yes. COVID pandemic has taught us many lessons. And the government is very busy now developing the infrastructure facilities in the healthcare. We have now responded to the demand of COVID cases, growing COVID cases, and jumbo facilities have been created across the cities. In Mumbai city, you would find NESCO Exhibition Center, the largest exhibition center in the state, is converted into jumbo facility as a COVID care center. MMRDA, that is Bandra Kurla complex, that complex is now having a COVID care center for more than 2,000 beds. So government is responding to the need of the hour. But at the same time, we are also developing permanent facilities in healthcare. Earlier, we had only 4 testing laboratories, virology testing laboratories, testing viruses. But now we have as many as 135 test laboratories. So you can see the way government is responding to this challenging situation and developing our healthcare facilities. We are ever conscious on this call.
That is very heartening, Mr. Minister. I think we come to the end of this session. I think it was a wonderful snapshot, Mr. Minister, that you gave for the state of Maharashtra. We tried our bouncers and Yorkers, but you were able to not only defend but also attack when needed. Thank you for that perspective. We tried everything. Farming, education, FDI. Yes, sir.
Shukla, I'm original Shiva Sainik.
So I think we tried everything from our side, right? I mean, the panelists asked you questions on farming, education, FDI, Swachhata, and you are able to give a good account of the government. So thank you so much, Mr. Minister, for your time and sharing your views. I'll hand it over to Mr. Keshav Karve and Mr. Dilip Sinha for the vote of thanks. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Shukla. Thank you very much. Sir, Honorable Minister, sir, thank you very much for the time you have devoted for this webinar. Really appreciate your frankness in answering those questions. My sincere thanks on behalf of Zee International as well. Thank you very much. I'll just pass it on to Mr. Dilip Sinha to deliver a vote of thanks to you. Thank you.
Yeah. On behalf of Indian Business and Professional Council, I would like to express our sincere thanks and appreciation, Honorable Minister Subhash Ji, for giving us an opportunity to ask you all the questions and getting very candid and forthright answers, which is really which should be really appreciated. And I'm sure a lot of business people must already on the call must have started thinking about investing in Maharashtra. At the same time, on behalf of the council, I would also like to thank Zee International for organizing this wonderful event in close collaboration with IBPC Dubai. And we look forward to many more such good events. Also, appreciation to Mr. Keshav Surve, Dr. Sachidanand Shukla, Mr. Deshpande, and Mr. Skandan Mahalingam ji, who is the who heads the investment forum in Indian Business Council Dubai, and Mr. Dr. Sunil Manjrekar for an excellent work, and Zee International in all. Thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure and honor. Thank you. Jai Hind and Jai Maharashtra.
Yeah, I thank Zee International, Mr. Keshav Karve, and all the participants. Thank you very much, and we'll continue this dialogue in future also. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you very much. Jai Maharashtra.
Jai Maharashtra.